So I started networking and talking to people, and I was lucky enough to find, because I would tell myself, I haven't worked in 2 years. Who's going to find a job after 2 years? Nobody. No. And then who's going to hire me like with flexibility? Nobody. That doesn't exist in the corporate world, right? But I did find something that was very close to my house. At the beginning, it was a contracting job, so I could just, whatever hours I was working. And then I started getting more responsibility and I became the head of strategic planning. But that journey helped me go back slowly and feel comfortable with, I can do this. I can combine those things. I got help. I mean, I'm privileged to have lucky and, the resources to be able to do this. I'm convinced that if you know what you want, what really makes you happy, which is a journey, that is not an easy thing to say, right? I mean, it's just, you have to spend the time asking yourself, what is it that I want? And what is it that makes me happy?
How can a boss mama put her family first, yet also have a career that makes her happy? This is the question we're going to answer with Lizette Dubacher. Lizette is Mexican-American, born in Laredo, Texas, but raised in Mexico. Ever since she was a little girl, she was an achiever. She got her BS from Tecnologico de Monterrey, her master's at Universidad de Monterrey, and her MBA from Harvard Business School. She climbed the corporate ladder, and she was picked by Electronic Data System to lead the account startup in Latin America. But while at Harvard, she fell in love with a fellow student and followed her love across to Europe, to Spain, Germany, and then back to the US. They had 2 daughters, and Lizette found herself needing to choose between her own career and her husband's. Meanwhile, Lizette looked around at her peers, and they're continuing to climb the corporate ladder. Lizette shares her journey with digging deep into her soul and redefining what success means to her. She's a wonderful example of one of the boss mama strategies, mastering your mindset, taking a step back and seeing how society, our families, our schools have defined success for us. And rather than accepting that definition, we can take time to decide for ourselves. Who am I? What do I really want? Lizette shares practical steps to find a career that puts family first and also makes her happy. She's done this not just once, but twice. I'm excited for you to learn from this boss mama. I am so excited, especially as a fellow achiever. So I actually want to start our conversation, Lizette, with the question of being an achiever, going way back to when you were young. Like, where did it all start?
I always wanted to be the best, whatever that meant. And I guess in kindergarten, it's just being recognized as you are a very smart kid, you're a good kid. And then elementary school, also best grades. I wanted to be the top all the time. I wanted to get the best grades. It was very clear in my mind through elementary school that I had to be the person who bears the flag. So in Mexico, we do every Monday, we do assembly, we sing the national anthem, and there's a small flag guard, you can call it, of 6 people. The best of the best holds the flag every Monday. So to me, that was my goal. I always, through 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, that's what I wanted to be. So it was very clear in my mind what I had to do.
How did that go?
I was not that person, and that hurt like hell. It was awful. I had the best grades, but so did a guy. So we had a test, and he apparently beat me for a couple of points, and for me it was devastating. It was devastating, and it was also like, it's not fair. I worked all this time, all these years, right? So it was tragic. I really remember crying a lot and suffering a lot and being disappointed on myself because I was supposed to be the best and the smartest, and I didn't. So I had to wait another 3 years in middle school to be that person, because it also happens in middle school. So finally, after 3 years, I did it. was carrying the flag for a whole year. But it was painful, and it cost me a lot of effort and a lot of, pain, but I did it. I achieved it.
I can picture you, Lizette, carrying that flag and also looking at that guy while you're carrying that flag and saying, I've got the flag.
Every Monday for a year. Can you believe it? Yeah. But one learns from those experiences, Yeah.
So Lizette, did that pressure come from parents, or like, where did that come from?
I don't remember being, my parents putting pressure on me. I think it was more, I was born like that. I think that I just became that way. And I'm still am, I guess.
That I love that you mentioned that it's actually still in you today. And we're talking about it because often as women, as moms, seen as ambitious, it's not particularly attractive. So I really appreciate that you shared that, because it helped a ton. You went to these great schools, you climbed the corporate ladder, you eventually go to Harvard for business school. And all of those are, by society's definitions, incredibly successful. So I want to bring us to the moment when you meet your partner, your now partner, and you're at Harvard and you fall in love, and you're both obviously ambitious. So when did you have that conversation between the two of you to talk about what that could mean to have two very ambitious people?
Yeah, so I remember clearly when, we got job offers, and we had to decide, where to go. And we talked about our priorities then. And we were not married then, we were just dating. And we said, well, how do we do this, right? I mean, I had offers in California, in Dallas, he had an offer in Switzerland. So what are we going to do? And he supported me. I think he said, look, I want to live in the US, and I can ask for a transfer, within the office that he was getting the job, in Switzerland, and I follow you. And I think it was clear to us that we were getting serious about our relationship, and that family was going to be first always. So we agreed. It was clear to me, because I come from Mexico, which family is very important, that, family was going to be first. So my career was going to be second, right? So then we said, okay, so family first, his career second, and my career third.
Thanks, Lizette. So I appreciate so much that you had this conversation before you were married, a really honest conversation. What are your priorities? What are mine? And are we aligned? Because if we're not, we need to have a different conversation. So I really appreciate that honesty in the beginning, and also that it is unique to find someone who also values family to the degree you do. So that's beautiful. So it seems like you got lucky, right? With both him and also finding a role for both of you and to be together in Texas. I'm guessing though, that as we fast forward, there's going to be a time when it didn't work as planned, and you had actually had to make some tough decisions.
One of the toughest was, I was trying to get pregnant, still working. He was offered a job. He was a consultant, so he was offered a job with one of his clients, but that job was in Puerto Rico. And I was trying to get pregnant in Dallas. We were living in Dallas. So that was very tough, because it's like, well, you're going to be commuting, or do you want me to move? Then I need to quit my job, right? I mean, that was very difficult decision. And I said, I'm not going to Puerto Rico. I mean, I'm just not going there, because if I want to get pregnant, and we were going through fertility treatments and all this, I have to be here. I already have my doctor here. But this is important for your career, because it's moving from consulting to a line job. And so anyway, so that was very hard. But he took the job. We said, we're going to commute. And if it doesn't work, I quit. We will find a way, blah, blah, blah. Got pregnant with twins. My whole pregnancy, I was alone pretty much, right? He was commuting. I said, look, this is not going to work. He got a new job within the same company in Spain. So then I said, okay, I need to quit my job, but I also want to spend time with my kids. Together, you're not going to travel as much, right? We're going to be in the same city, and then your career, and then my career. At that point, I decided to take a break.
I'm reflecting, Lizette, on your partner and how, again, you have these honest conversations to spend time in fertility treatments and then to finally get pregnant and then to be alone because you're trying to put your husband's career there, but then to actually tell him it's not okay. And no, I don't want to move to Puerto Rico. To actually put yourself in the equation that we're not just going to quietly follow, but actually you have say. And then for him to hear you and say, okay, what works then for all of us? So now you're in Spain, which I love that you're now together. He's not traveling as much and you're taking time off. So I want to talk about that. And it is privileged, Lizette, to be able to take time, and financially for the family, things are still working out. So we want to name that. And how was that like? I mean, you go from achiever mindset and now you have these babies at home.
I just decided, okay, I'm going to be the best mom, right? And I read every single book, parenting book, and every single nutrition book. And, I was just trying to be, okay, I'm going to be the best. Because remember, that is always my motto, right? You need to be the best. Okay, so I cannot work because I have these little creatures with me, right? I mean, I'm going to just be the best mom. So that's what I did. So that went fast, a year and a half. But then we came back to the States, to California this time. And then that was tough because the girls were already almost 2. They were toddlers. They started going to a preschool. And then what am I going to do, right? And I remember very clearly being in this playground and playing with the girls, and just they were already playing with other kids. So I had more time. I called him and he said, I don't like this. I just cannot have another diaper conversation, or preschool conversation or whatever. So I need to do something. I mean, otherwise I'm I need some intellectual. I feel so guilty. And it's just this that women have all the time, right? It's like you feel guilty if you are, because you are, if you're not, because you're not, right? I mean, it's just awful. And he said, just look for a job. So I started networking and talking to people, and I was lucky enough to find, because I would tell myself, I haven't worked in 2 years. Who's going to find a job after 2 years? Nobody. No. And then who's going to hire me like with flexibility? Nobody. That doesn't exist in the corporate world, right? But I did find something that was very close to my house. At the beginning, it was a contracting job, so I could just, whatever hours I was working. And then I started getting more responsibility and I became the head of strategic planning. But that journey helped me go back slowly and feel comfortable with, I can do this. I can combine those things. I got help. I mean, I'm privileged to have lucky and, the resources to be able to do this. I'm convinced that if you know what you want, what really makes you happy, which is a journey, that is not an easy thing to say, right? I mean, it's just, you have to spend the time asking yourself, what is it that I want? And what is it that makes me happy?
Yes. So there are so many really great pieces here, Lizette. I want to just give I'm about systems. So thinking through, you're on the playground with your kids, thinking about them being in daycare and realizing that actually you want more, and having a conversation with your partner to say, I want more. And him saying, and you saying, you deserve more, which is really great, because sometimes that can be at a tension where actually I should be doing mom duty. I need to be the only one. I can't have a caregiver do it, because that would mean that I don't love my kids enough. So one, to see that you can and want more, and your partner giving absolutely agreement to that. And then 2, you releasing the mom guilt that you didn't have to be the only one. So I'm curious about that, because mom guilt is a thing. And
I don't think you get rid of that completely. I just think you have to manage it, right? And say, I think I'm a better mom and a better person if I'm happy. And it happens to be that being, working and doing what you like makes me happy. So that's what you need to, think. I'm going to be a better mom. I'm going to be a better wife. I'm going to be a better, if I'm happy. And if that brings me happy, let's try to find that. And then you have conversations with your kids too, right? It depends on the age, obviously, but like, hey, mommy likes to do this. Can you support that? Can you help us? Can we work as a family better?
I think too, society, Lizette, it says, here's what a mama does and is always around. And that's what it means to be the best, right? You're an achiever. You want to be the best. And yet you're going to look at society and say, actually, I have a different definition that's about doing what makes me happy. And that means I'm going to work. And I'm going to talk to my kids about mom being a leader, a worker, and how you contribute to the family in playing this role and also mom role. They're all together. That's so great because guilt is there, and to recognize that it's normal and to actually still define success and happiness on your own terms. That's the key. So I love that.
Yep.
So was that walking through? So 1, you recognize that you want to do more, you get your partner to agree. 2, you see the mom guilt and you choose still to center yourself. And then 3, you talked about figuring out, taking time to see what does make you happy. So I'd actually like to spend time there because you're like, here you go. And I have this job. It was 10 minutes away. I was like, wow, there is a process here. So if you could try to help us understand, what did that look like for you to figure that out for yourself and then find that job?
I'm getting older and I need to think about, what I want to do the rest of my life. So in 5 years, my kids are going to college, right? So I spend, at least 6 months I work with a coach, a career coach, and she helped me a lot to say, okay, Lizette, what do you want? And I will always go back to, well, I think I should do this. No. It's not what you should do. It's what you want to do. What makes you happy, right? What gives you reward? Which type of people you want to work with? Do you want to work alone? Do you want to work in a team? Do you want to just picture yourself? What is the best setting for you? What type of, questions or tasks you want to be doing? What type of conversations you want to be having? So I work with her a lot, probably like 6 hours on that. I mean, not in 1 week, but, several, probably 3 months or so. And then I also did this on my own. I put together a matrix, as a good, Excel and numbers. And I put that, and that gave me so much peace, because I said, okay, so what are the things I value? And then I weighted them, right? Which one is more important? And do I care about, money? Do I care about title? Do I care about commute? Do I care about the people that I'm working with? Do I care about flexibility? Do I care about like all the criteria? I mean, I have like 10 or so criteria, right? And then the types of job that I could get, because you also need to be realistic. I mean, I'm not going to go and work as a doctor if I'm not, right? I mean, what type of jobs could I do? And I have like 5 or 6 different jobs. And then I just, points to each of those criteria and then weigh them. And then I got my Excel file with, all those things, color coded and, everything. I validated with my husband, not validated, but I, show it to him, say, what do you think? Am I prioritizing this right? And then I also had thought partners, which I think is very important. So people who know you very well, professionally and personally, if possible, right? And I had that conversation with them too. What do you think? Do you think that this is what makes me happy? Do you think that, you've known me for 20 years? Like, to just talk to people. And because sometimes you're so, fixated with, this is what I have to be. No, but that's not what you have to be. You should be what you want to be, right? Especially in the last part of your life, So So I did all that, and I just spent time networking, connecting, talking to people. I met so wonderful people, like that's how I met you in this journey of, finding, and doing jobs pro bono at the beginning. Just, hey, I want to see if I like this, am I good at it? Do I like it, before I commit to something. So I spent in total 1 year with this search until I found the job that I think is going to make me happy, right? Or at least in the next step of my life. You cannot say forever, right? But, and I found almost exactly what I wanted. So, but I have the luxury of time. I mean, of not having, the rush or the urgency to find a job because, my husband works and then I also had very good people around me that I could have conversations with. So don't stay alone, right? Don't try to find the solution on your own. That doesn't work. You have to have conversations with other women like you, people who know you well, people you have worked with. And that helps a lot. I mean, it's really amazing how it takes a village, I think, to come up with a good answer. And I think I've proven it twice that, if you take the time, you are honest with yourself, you can find what you want, right? Now, in my case, it was clear that I didn't want to be a CEO and I didn't want to be, this, super duper professional woman. But that's not what I want. That's not what I want. I really wanted more satisfaction and balance in my life. And I think that's what you need to do, right?
Lizette, I can't help but ask. So tell me more about this job you found, if you can share. Like, here's what my values were, my priorities on my sheet, and then here's kind of what then I ended up finding. I'm curious, could you share more about that?
Yeah, so my top priority actually was flexibility and autonomy. I wanted to have a job where I could still have time, once in a while. I mean, not every day, right? Because if this is a full-time job, but, to go and see my girls' soccer game or, to, go and walk. I do yoga, yoga for me is important, or walking or whatever it is, right? So, so that was my priority number one. Number two or three, where, the people that I work with, good people, driven people, but also people, not only professionals. I like to have that relationship, not only as a professional, but that I have interests, common interests with these people, either because they also have kids or because they also like to read or because they also whatever, right? I wanted to have people hopefully here in the community, right? So because I'm relatively new here, so I wanted to connect to that. I wanted to help people to my job. So I'm a business consultant. My last job, the last part of my career before now was strategic planning. So I wanted to do that. I started helping small business owners with their business in a pro bono basis. So I really enjoyed that. So I wanted to have a job that I could use all those things, my strengths, and also helping people. So I found it. So now I'm going to start working in a couple of weeks. I already signed everything with a small boutique consulting company, which is focused on helping family-owned businesses. So very similar to what I have been doing pro bono, but now on a bigger scale, bigger companies in the community. You don't have to travel. It's just 2 hours radio. All the clients are here in this area. I live in Pennsylvania. So, I can work from home unless I have to go and see clients for workshops and things. But it's just, I mean, I can't believe that I really found what I really wanted, right?
I'm so happy for you and to share your gifts and your strengths with the world. And then for your girls to see that mom can be a leader at work, contribute at work, but also that makes you happy. So you can even better contribute as a mom, as a spouse, as a family member. It's beautiful. I love, love, love it.
Thank you. Thank you.
So with that, Lizette, we've got some fun lightning round questions to end.
Okay.
Chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate for sure. Chocolate, yeah.
Cooking or takeout?
Yeah, cooking.
Climb a mountain or jump from a plane?
Climb a mountain.
Have you ever worn socks with sandals?
No, I hate that. I don't know. I hate that. No, never.
How would you rate your karaoke skills on a scale of 1 to 10 Mariah Carey?
From 1 to 10?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. No, I think it's like 7.
Recent book you read?
The Tyranny of Merit. Very good book. I recommend it.
What is your favorite way to practice self-care?
Yoga.
What's a really good professional development you've done?
I think working with a coach.
What's your definition of a boss mama?
I think somebody who tries to balance life and work, and is continually struggling to do it, but that is committed to both. Yep.
And what advice would you give your younger self?
I would tell myself, it's okay not to be perfect. It's okay. I wish I had learned that earlier on. That would have saved me a lot of tears and allergies. I got very bad allergies when I was stressed out. So yeah, you don't have to be perfect. Yeah.
And Lizette, where can we find you? Like LinkedIn or anything like that?
Yeah, so LinkedIn for sure, I'm there. I also work with the Acceleration Project. It's a nonprofit organization. We help minority-owned businesses. So you can go to the website, the Acceleration Project. By the way, they are looking for driven women who want to help others. It's a great organization based in New York, so I highly recommend that. You can also find me there.
And then our last question is, do you have a final ask, recommendation, or any parting thoughts with our audience?
I would just say we all struggle. Doesn't matter if you're the CEO, if you are, a stay-at-home mom, if you are something in between. We all struggle. All women struggle. And I think only women understand that. I think I'm convinced that it's just not the same for men, right? I mean, especially if you have kids and but we all struggle. So don't suffer alone. Don't struggle alone. Talk to other women, and because we can really help each other.
Thank you so much, Lizette, for our conversation. I really appreciate you, and I really appreciate your stories. Learned a ton, and I know others will too.
Thank you. Thank you for everything, Analiza. It was great talking to you.